What's going on, everybody? John Eric Poli here with My MMA News, and today's guest is coming off a first-round knockout win over Bogdan Grad on Dana White's Contender Series to earn a UFC contract, joined today by Tom Nolan. Tom, first off, man, congratulations on the win, and thank you so much for being here and giving us the time today.
Thanks, man. Thank you very much for having me on.
So, Tom, let's start here. First off, man, welcome to the UFC. Just what are all the emotions like right now after earning the contract?
Yeah, the emotions were high initially, but they've settled in now, and I've always known I was going to be here, so I'm not super excited yet. I've got some work to do first.
And I know that this moment in time for any fighter right after the Contender Series, kind of like a surreal moment. Like, did this really just happen? Like, all your dreams come true? Has all of it kind of sunk into you here now?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it hasn't all sunk in yet because I haven't got overly excited yet. Like, I'm obviously very happy to be here, but yeah, I'm back in the gym. I'm excited to get some work in. I want to put some wins together and really have a crack at running for the title.
All right, man. So before we get into the actual fight itself or anything related to that, I want to start with your background here a little bit, just, before any of this UFC stuff was even made possible. And we'll start with the internal MMA promotion, fantastic promotion out in Australia. Cam O'Neill does a fantastic job running that there. And I know obviously probably very familiar to anybody over in Australia, over here in the United States. Not sure if people really realize it, but that is where a lot of that high-level Australian talent comes from, is that promotion. Just talk what that was like, being able to fight for that promotion and get the high-level competition over there before coming over here and doing what you did on the Contender Series.
Yeah, Eternal was a great path for me. I got to fight some high-level opponents. I fought Adam Cook, who is 7-1 from City Kickboxing. That was a tough fight, and he's a really tough competitor. So beating him kind of gave me that confidence. After I beat him, I realized, okay, like I can do this. I can beat anyone in the world. I think I was 4-0 at the time, or 3-0 at the time. So yeah, to go out there and beat him was awesome, and that was obviously Eternal put that together. And then I fought Aiden Aguilera, the ex-champion, and I beat him quicker than I actually thought I was going to. So I hold myself accountable, and I put a lot of pressure on myself, and then I go out there and I exceed what I think I'm going to do. So it's good. Eternal have helped me. The platform in Australia, like you said, is huge, and yeah, there's a lot of people who are going to be in the UFC coming through the Eternal rankings soon.
And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of your teammates joining you into the UFC one day. I know you work out at a very good gym over there in Australia, and you gave a lot of your teammates shout-outs a couple times after your victory there. So while we're on that topic now, let's just give them the shout-out now and the credit they deserve too, because I know they're obviously a very big part of the reason why you're in the UFC here today.
Yeah, so Team Compton Training Center, that's the gym I train out of. And like I've got so many training partners, I can't name them all, who are going through. Like we're a pretty solid gym, but my coaches, Elliot Compton and Dom Marfan, they're two standouts for me. They put a lot of time and effort into me, and they're definitely going to be in the UFC. And obviously our head coach, Steve Compton, he puts all the time into us, and that's a huge reason why everyone's going to be in the position we're going to be in.
And right before you came over here to the United States for this Contender Series fight, you actually made a very a big decision in your life. And I know from just covering the Contender Series for years, a lot of fighters that are in the Contender Series boat have to work full-time jobs in order to, support their dream of being a fighter until they make the UFC. Well, right before this fight, you quit working at your job. So I guess first off, what did you do before you ended up quitting? And just talk about what that, the experience and all the emotions and everything that kind of went into that decision to quit the job and just become a full-time fighter out of the Contender Series.
So I was a apprentice plumber for my brother, and then I moved to Brisbane and I fought Adam Cook. So I stopped working for my brother a month out from that fight. And then I did a bit of full-time training for the Aiden Aguilera fight, but I did a bit of bartending stuff, just picking up glasses and a bit of night work. But, it's hard to wake up training in the morning when I'm working till 4 a.m. and it's hard missing nighttime sessions. So yeah, literally the moment I got that call, my manager called me at 4 in the morning and said, "Hey man, you're in." I called them as soon as I got the chance and said, "Yeah, I'm not doing this anymore." But they were cool about it. They understood. They knew it was coming. So yeah, now I'm just training and fighting full time.
Yeah, I bartend at my other job, so I know what it's like to have those late nights. And if you ever have to get up early the next day, it's kind of not a fun experience, that's for sure. But anyway, while we're talking about decision makings and everything, I know you were a very good rugby player. I think they made us sit on the broadcast that you were actually a professional at one time playing rugby. Do you want to just talk a little bit about the rugby background? And obviously, you were very successful there. Just that decision too to quit doing something you're very successful at in order to go into a completely different sport.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was professional because I was only a young fella. I think I was maybe 15 when I stopped playing footy, but I was trying to go down that path. Like that was my goal. I was playing for the representative team in my hometown, which is quite a good team to make. And I was thinking footy's got off season and on season, so it's got a few months where there's just no training. And I was thinking, well, I want to work something that's going to add to my game. So I thought jiu-jitsu and wrestling would, help, I guess, control someone you've tackled. But yeah, my family, we're a big footy family, and my brother, he played pretty high level footy. So that was my original dream. But I think it really aided me with my martial arts because it taught me a bit of mongrel and taught me how to, play with the team and then go into an individual sport. It's good to have that mindset.
Okay, so now finally, let's get into this Contender Series fight and all the emotions and everything that go along with it. So we'll start actually pre-fight. I know there was something with DMs going back and forth. You were a little upset about it. Explain all that to everybody. What all took place there?
Yeah, so the fight got booked with a lot of notice, like 14 weeks notice or something. And I remember just being at the shopping center having a look at some stuff, and I got a bunch of notifications from, such and such liked your photo and like 50 notifications. And I had to scroll through and it was old mate I was fighting. And I was like, oh, whatever. Like he's just having a look. And then for the next month, literally every single day, every single night, he would just go back through and re-like them and just try and, I don't know, maybe set my phone off. I don't really know what he was thinking behind that. Anyway, him and his coach started doing it too. They started getting on there and liking all of it, which that was whatever. That's not a big deal. And then I put my announcement post out, like saying, like, "Hey guys, I'm fighting on Contender Series. I'm fighting this guy, and I'm going to destroy him pretty much." And then he didn't like that, and he sent me a video of him like with no message, like of his back, flexing his back muscles, and then he turned around and he like flexed his front, and like someone's in the background like cheering him on, and then he walks past the camera and he's doing these ones, and yeah, I just messaged him back because he's quite small. I sent him a photo of a midget at a weightlifting competition. And I was like, I don't know, bro, this is what you look like. And we went back and forth for a little bit. It was pretty funny. It wasn't too bad. And I told him, I said to him, hey, man, we both know, like, I'm going to knock you out. And then I had to stop talking to him there because my coach was like, hey, let's not put energy into that. Let's keep putting energy into training, So I blocked him on my social media. And then he kept going. Like, I didn't know until after the fight, but he was putting up photos and talking all the trash. And then, yeah, a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people went back onto his profile and were commenting. And yeah, it turned out to be pretty funny.
So I know you had mentioned about your coach saying like, all right, come on, let's knock this all off. I was going to ask you, what that was like being able to turn those emotions off, because I know a lot of people would say, right, when actually a lot of people that aren't familiar with the sport think, oh, you have to be, crazy and a psycho and be in this weird mindset in order to go out and get a fist fight in a cage. Not always the case. A lot of times, people will say that when you go into the cage with emotions, it's a bad thing. So just talk about that, about balancing those emotions out.
Yeah, it's a strange one for me. Like I actually do kind of fight with emotion. Not really fight with emotion, but I go into the fight with emotion. When I'm in the cage, I feel nothing. But I think I actually enjoy when people kind of spur me on a little bit like that. Like it doesn't affect me too much. Like I've had a fair bit in my life where I've been spurred on before, and now I know how to control my emotions really well. And it's pretty hard to get me super fired up like that. So like it was funny to me, but I also, yeah, I don't know, that stuff I do like when someone like I've got a bit of a point to prove. I was like, all right, well now I'm going to hurt you for that. I mean, I have that attitude anyway, obviously, because it's a fight. But I think that's what separates me from the pack. Like I am in there to hurt people pretty bad. Like I do enjoy it. That's my goal. My goal necessarily isn't to win. That's a lesson I learned throughout my life, and you can see the change in my career. When I started fighting at 14, and for me it was wasn't necessarily about hurting someone. It was a sport, and it was to go in there and win. That was my mindset as a kid. And then it all switched. I figured out, no, this is much more than a sport. Winning doesn't mean anything. Destroying people is what people want to see. So that's what matters. So I had to put my energy into learning how to really want to do that. And now that is what I truly want to do.
Okay, so now let's get to the actual X's and O's of this fight. Not a lot to break down because it was a first-round knockout. Really early on, right out of the gate, you were able to rock him with a very big punch there, but he was able to weather the storm. Just talk about that first knockdown, that little, sequence that took place there, and if you were surprised at all that he was able to weather that storm there.
I was surprised I dropped him with it because it wasn't like a loaded shot. I wasn't thinking like, this is going to be a shot that puts him away. It was a setup shot. Like if you watch the footage, you can see I followed up with a big hook after it. I was actually trying to cut an angle and I was looking for a finishing shot on the end of that. So when I dropped him, I followed him down, but I felt straight away, I felt his strength. So I knew he was still, I knew he was still there. But I knew he was going to gas out. He was squeezing as tight as he could. I could feel him squeezing. So I was just pushing the face, giving him a bit of pressure back, a bit of resistance. But I knew he was going to hold on and he was going to get tired. And the moment he did, he opened up and he created some space. I started to let some big shots through. I landed a nasty elbow. You can't really see it because of the footage because the camera was behind us. I landed a big elbow on his temple and I saw his eyes roll in his head. And that's when I threw another elbow which just missed him and I retreated and I said, nah, get up, let's go.
Well, the second one that you were able to hit him with definitely put him away. Let's talk about that one now. Just talk about that finishing sequence. Of course, the big punch that dropped him, but then the ground and pound right after. All it was one shot when he was grounded and he was out. Huge knockout. Take us through it.
Yeah, so I went into a flow, like we call it the Compton flow at our gym. So it's like, feeling when someone's thrown a shot behind your ear and then being able to capitalize on that, knowing that their hand's not going to be back at their chin yet. So, like, if you watch the footage, both of his hooks, he throws a couple of wild hooks and they both just skim behind my ear. And that's when I unload that left hand over the top because I could feel his hand was here. So I rolled it over the top, put him out. Same thing. I didn't think that he was going to go out from that one. So you can see in the footage, I hit him with that. And the exact same thing, I went to follow up with the lead shot. And then as he was down, I saw it, I saw he was unconscious. And I was like, all right, now this is for all the shit you talked and for all the people who are, there was a few people bickering online and that. And I was like, this is for the big train side, Boom, broke his face.
And I know you made a big impression on Dana White. He was, standing on his feet after the knockout. He had nothing but great things to say about you afterwards in the microphone. I know you guys did get to speak a little bit. I know there was a brief little interaction between you two after the fight. Not sure how long it was, but just what was the conversation like with Dana? What did you guys say to each other?
Yeah, he said a pretty cool thing to me, I went back over to him, once I calmed down a little bit, and I said to him, hey, man, thank you so much for this opportunity. You have no idea. I've worked my whole life for this. And he said to me, he's like, it doesn't matter what you've done to get here tonight. I don't really care what everyone's done to get here tonight. It's what you do tonight. That's what matters. And you showed up. And I thought that was a pretty cool thing that he said.
And then just one last thing then to cover here with the Contender Series and the fight itself. Obviously, after you get the win, you get the contract, the emotions are very high. What was the celebration like? How'd you guys celebrate out in Vegas?
Yeah, my team, my brother, my manager, and a mate, we all went out and had a lot of food, had a couple of beers and just talked and, had a really good night. It was pretty chill. We had to fly back home the next day, so we didn't go too crazy, but we stayed up and had a good time and enjoyed looking at Vegas.
All right, man, just one last thing before we wrap things up here today. Obviously you're now in the UFC. Like I said in the beginning, welcome to the UFC. I'm sure you have a very bright future now here in front of you. So the question now is, what's next for you? Do you want to wait till next year to get back inside there? Obviously, you got out of the Contender Series quick, no damage. Do you want to get a fight in by the end of the year? What's kind of the roadmap here for the debut looking like?
Yeah, we definitely want to get one in this year. I'm aiming for hopefully November, maybe December, where I think my managers are talking with them now. So hopefully we'll hear back soon. But yeah, if that McGregor card's a real thing, I'm not sure if it is anymore. But if it is, and if O'Malley's going to be on it, then I would love to get on that. That would be my dream. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, though, Dana White did say after UFC 292, I think that the McGregor Chandler fight more than likely takes place 2024. But either way, I think Sean O'Malley's definitely in the cards there for the December cards. That would be cool if you got to fight on that one, because that's gonna be a massive card, and obviously your fighting style would be perfect for a big card like that. It'd be pretty cool to see you on it. So hopefully we'll see you sooner than later. That's for sure, man. Like I said, you have a bright future in front of you, and I appreciate all the time here today. Just last thing now before you head out for the day, we're going to give you the last word here. You want to go ahead, plug your social media, management, sponsorships, all that good stuff. Floor is yours. Take it away.
Yeah, Ruby Sports and Entertainment, best management team in the world. And just shout out to my gym team, Compton Training Center. You know, the best team in the world. They look after me. So that's all I want to plug.